Hello all YouTubers, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning back into this tropical discussion for June 9th, 2020. Before I get on with today's video, however, I would ask that you please do subscribe because sadly, tons of my watch time has been coming from unsubscribed viewers. We are on our way to our next goal of 600 subscribers, and thank you guys so much, by the way, for 500 subscribers. Let's get to our next goal of 600 subscribers, alright? So please do subscribe, and also, this applies to every single one of you, please watch the whole video as well as liking and sharing the video. Thank you. Now let's get on with today's video. Now today we're going to be talking about a tropical disturbance that has a low chance for development, but I still think because this hurricane season could potentially be very active, I do think that it's definitely something worth watching. I mean, the environmental conditions aren't the best, won't be affecting much land, but I think it's something that's worth tracking, and I think you guys hopefully will enjoy this video. So if you do want to watch my latest hurricane discussion, as in the top right corner of your screen, obviously if you want the forecast for the entire season, that is in my 8th hurricane discussion, also right there in the top right corner of your screen if you want to after this video. So let's get started. So as you can see, for my 10% formation next 5 days, it's a non-tropical low pressure currently. If it does form, it will be a subtropical depression / storm. If it does form. It does appear unlikely now, although if it does develop, it's going to be within the next 48 or 72 hours. There are some unfavorable environmental conditions. Not all the factors are turning against the storm, but some of them are. And after a few days, the slope will dissipate. All right, and you know, as like I said, if you watched my severe weather video that I recently just did, you would have saw that I announced that. I mean, you probably noticed as well, but this is YouTube's last day for poll info cards, so I figured I did one on that video as well. Why not do one here? So as our final weather poll question, what do you guys think about this hurricane season? So that's going to appear in your top right corner of your screen. Just click on the eye and just do you think it's going to be a season going to be above average? Do you think it's going to be record setting? Do you think it's going to be below average? No wrong answers, just to see what you guys think for this hurricane season, and I can gather the results. And by the way, one of my first weather poll questions that I did do, I think it was like, what is more scary, a hurricane or tornado? I believe that the winning result was tornado. So if you want to go, I don't remember which one that poll card was in, but to those of you that answered the poll question, I believe the winner 10-9 was a tornado. So that is the winning poll. Now let's get into the video. So again, 10% chance of formation. It is currently sitting at 55 degrees west latitude, or sorry, longitude. I always get those mixed up. And 30 degrees north latitude. So it's sitting pretty much right about here, the low pressure system. And again, this is one of the factors that's turning against it. All right. Now you got to remember, it just became June. Like we pretty much just turned June a week ago, and the subtropics and the northern Atlantic are never really going to be that warm yet, and the fact that the waters there are below average just doesn't help matters much either, because you have to remember the waters are going to be cooler in the subtropics this time of year anyway. Now in terms of the actual ocean temperatures, about 23 or 24, so again we're talking about low to mid 70s in this case, so it's not too bad, but it's not quite enough to sustain a tropical cyclone. Subtropical depression / storm, yeah, possibly. If this does form, it's going to have its best chance to become a subtropical depression. Like a tropical depression, but half low, half tropical entity. If we look at the NCEP, the FNMOC, the Canadian model, the European model, what do they think? They're ensemble-based probability of tropical cyclone genesis. And if you look, I mean, if you want, you can like count the layers, so 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40. I'd say that right here is about 60 to 70% chance that they actually develop this, that this does become a tropical cyclone within the next 48 hours. So some of the, these are like 4 different models, but each model I think does have like 30 or so runs, because each model has its own ensemble, so it's like a lot of model runs. So they are saying that yes, it's a 60-70% chance we could have tropical cyclone genesis. I don't think the threat's going to be that high, but we're going to have to see. And in terms of the next 0 to 120 hours, the threat goes up to about 70 to 80%. Way more than what the National Hurricane Center was saying, but I think this thing does have a decent chance to develop. the only good thing is, I'm going to be showing you later, the only good thing is right now is that the wind shear isn't too bad where it's actually sitting right now. I think main problems are going to be the ocean water, temperatures, and the dry air. Kind of like what Cristobal was facing. Now, turns out the track, at least in the next 18, 24 hours, the models will kind of sit there. Right? And NCE-based probability, along with the model tracks, they call for about a 60 to 70% chance of development. And then, again, that also goes up to 70 to 80% chance within next 120 hours. Now, in terms of the ensemble-based probability, again, here's another version of it. This version has about a 40 to 50% chance, which I think is definitely a lot more reasonable, because I don't think we're going to have a high threat, but I think it's certainly possible that we do develop something here. And in terms of the 0 to 120 hours, again, still 40 to 50%. So that I do agree with more. My prediction is a 30 to 40% chance of development. I kind of like that yellow shading the best. I think 30 to 40% chance of development would suit this. I don't really think it's going to develop all that much, even if it does form, but it's something worth watching. Why is it going to be moving so slow? It's not going to move much. All right, and you know, if the conditions were actually favorable for this thing to develop, it would be good that it doesn't move because it would really develop the storm. One reason here is the high pressure. It is a weak high pressure, but there is a high pressure system off to its west, so that does take the flow. It causes the flow to come out of the north direction. So what does that do? That creates a little bit of wind shear, a little bit, but also it keeps the storm, you know, planted where it is for now. Either that or it just shoves the storm south. And at least according to the GFS model, again, that high pressure is going to kind of follow it. So again, here's your high pressure now, and it's going to cause a storm to either pretty much stop completely or at least move more slowly. In terms of the cyclonic vorticities here, now I used to use this a lot. If you watched my tropical coverage from last year, I did use it occasionally. So what this is there's three things in here. There's the 850 millibar cyclonic vorticities, which is what you see the colors here. There is the 500 millibar heights, which is what is represented by the lines, and the little lines that you see there, the kind of like the little arrows, that's your 200 millibar winds. It's kind of like your wind shear. So it's three things. It's kind of like 3 in 1 here. So your cyclonic vorticity values aren't that bad overall, actually. We do have some reds, maybe 27, closer to 35, in terms of the cyclonic vorticity values. But there, you can see, at least according to this 500 millibar heights, we actually do have a high pressure here. I showed you earlier was a surface high. Here's another high pressure here, more at 500 millibar heights, which is more what we look for in terms of steering. I was just showing you a surface high pressure. But that can cause some wind shear, along with the jet stream here, to drive some northwesterly wind shear into the storm. And if you look, there is a little arrow that's pointing this way, which means we might have some wind shear coming from the northwest or west-northwest direction cutting into the storm. So that might be tearing it apart a little bit, and that's why it kind of looks a little bit dysfunctional, how the thunderstorms kind of go to the east more. The cyclonic vorticity values kind of bends east. So it does, it does have a little tail front. It's kind of subtropical. But I think it's definitely still something to watch and something that could possibly develop. But take a look at this, though. It becomes quite the wind maker. Once it moves north, this is only 42 hours out. You can see the winds really start coming out of the north and northeast here at a very good clip. Now, in terms of the GFS model, in terms of the surface pressure and the surface winds, basically 10-meter wind speeds, just like more like a full resolution value of it. And I wish the Canadian model did provide this too, but only the GFS does, at least for this. And it's a better representation because it always gives you the surface pressure. Now, in terms of right now, this is for 8 o'clock in the morning, actually. We did have some 1010 millibars of pressure that is now dropped to 1009 as of the latest. So pressure is going down a little bit. I do believe this is low, so it'll probably go 1010, and we'll go up to 1013 millibars. Obviously, the higher the pressure, the lower the wind, basically. Just doesn't look, it just looks like a non-tropical low pressure. This could end up just being a non-tropical low pressure system that just happens to have some 40-mile-per-hour winds. Like I said, during hurricane season, you can't just take any low pressure with 40-mile-an-hour winds and slap tropical storm on it. They kind of have certain factors that come together. There's got to be the warm ocean water. There's got to be the low wind shear, low dry air. All right, there has to be a lot of moisture, obviously, for the tropical system. So, but the pressure will drop to 1018 or go up to 1018, and eventually, according to the GFS model, dissipate by Thursday afternoon. So this thing will be dissipating, not in that much time. Like I said, this pretty much has 48 hours to develop. Canadian model developed it at its best, I would say, by 2 a.m. Wednesday with a little kind of like a little front that's just draped to the east of it. So looks very, very pre-subtropical, which is not even subtropical. I'm just made it up, but like I said, this will become subtropical if anything. And as the Canadian model, here's your vorticity signature, and again, tries to develop something. We do have more, again, of a high pressure, so that could help it move either to the east or help it move a little bit more slowly. But again, because of that high pressure here and a low pressure here, that's really going to shove the winds from out of the north. It's really going to help the winds to come out of the north at a very decent clip. So Bermuda, watch out, because overnight Wednesday and Thursday, you can have some pretty decent winds. In terms of the surface winds, this isn't the full resolution like the GFS model had, but here are the surface winds for the storm system. As you can see, I'd say about the Canadian model takes it to about, I'd say 25-30 mile per hour winds with 10 millibars of pressure. So, and a lot of the strongest winds is going to be well to the northwest of where the system is, which even those winds aren't even tropical storm force. So, I'd say down the road, it's not a good road for the storm system. It doesn't have a really good future set for it. Not like most other storms will this season, probably because of the active season ahead. One example, again, if you look at the dry air, there's a lot of dry air behind Cristobal. All right, but if you look, again, we do have the clouds on the satellite. We do have some storms that are draping. It looks very subtropical, but you can take a look at how the dry air is just pretty much getting wrapped into the center. So dry air is starting to tear this thing apart. Wind shear isn't that bad. I mean, here's where your storm is located pretty much in this general vicinity. You can see not much wind shear. If you want to be exact, the storm's actually located inside that square, if you want to be exact. Not much wind shear, it looks like, at least according to the shear tendency over the past 24 hours by the Goes East satellite. So, and wind shear has decreased by about 5 knots over the past 24 hours. So maybe, all right, I'd say dry air and ocean water are definitely not on the storm side, but I just thought it was something to keep watch on, and just like mark it as another tropical disturbance. Check for the hurricane season of 2020. So, thank you for watching today's video. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Until next time, thank you guys for watching.